Dear students, I welcome you to my video lecture. In today's lecture, I will actually give you solution for problem number 1 and problem number 2. Uh, these questions are on page number 412 of the book. Okay, so let's read through the problem and then we will copy the key data and we will use the data to solve the problem. Okay, so Zapata Enterprises is financed by two sources of funds, okay, bonds and common stock. Okay, the cost of capital for funds provided by the bonds is KI, okay, and for equity it's KE. Okay, the capital structure consists of B dollars, okay, worth of bonds and S dollars worth of stocks, where the amounts represent market values. Okay, compute the overall weighted average cost of capital. Now this is a very super easy problem. Everything is given in letters, so we have to derive a formula for that. So okay, so suppose solution for problem number 1. Okay, so let's copy the data first. So for debt, okay, KI is the cost and B is actually the amount of dollars in terms of debt. Okay, and for equity on the other hand, the cost is of course KE, and let me write amount here, and the amount is, okay, S here, it's like for stock. Okay, so the total capital is of course B plus S, okay, and then portion of debt, what we also can call weightage, okay, of debt is B divided by B plus S. So B plus S is the total, okay, and B is the dollar amount of debt, okay, and then weightage or portion of equity, okay, is S divided by B plus S. Okay, apologize for that. B plus S. Okay, so since we know the cost now, so the cost for debt is KI, and the portion or the weightage of debt is B divided by B plus S. Okay, so how do we calculate WACC? Is of course you multiply cost with its weightage. So the weight for bond is B divided by B plus S, and then KE plus, sorry, multiplied by S divided by B plus S. Okay, so what we can do actually, this portion is like common. Okay, so we can write KI into B plus KE into S divided by B plus S. Okay, super easy. The only thing which is given, everything is given in letters. Okay, so this is solution for question number 1. Now question number 2, what it says is assume that B in problem 1, okay, which is bonds, like the debt part. So this is bond. Okay, so now it's given that B is 3 million. Okay, so solution number 2. Okay, so B amount of bonds, or the capital raised through bonds. That is, I think, a more accurate description. So capital raised through bonds. Okay, so I'll stretch this one, is equal to 3 million. Okay, and the cost associated with that, so 3 million is the amount of capital that we raise through bonds, okay, and 7 million is the amount of capital that we raise through stocks. Okay, the bond has a 14% yield to maturity, and the stock is expected to pay $500,000 in dividends. Okay, and please pay attention to this word, is expected to pay. So this dividend has not been paid yet. Okay, this one is expected to pay. So this one is not D naught. So this one is not dividend for now. Okay, this is actually dividend D1. Okay, so D1 is equal to $500,000. And the reason is this wording is expected to pay. Okay, so since I have all the numbers with me right now, I can calculate the cost of debt and the cost of equity. Okay, so the cost of debt, or what we can call bond as well. Okay, we have to consider the tax benefit of it as well. So the tax benefit, as you can see here, the tax rate is 40%. Okay, so the company will get a benefit of taxation, because, as I said, debt is like a tax shield. Debt as tax shield. Okay, so yesterday's lecture, as you saw, actually I did some calculation for savings, tax savings on interest expense. Okay, so whenever a company pays interest, they actually do not have to pay taxes on the interest expenses. So that's why companies save some taxes if they pay interest on their debt financing. Okay, so cost of debt is given as 14%, which is here. Let me show you from the data. Okay, it's right here. Okay, so after tax cost of debt, if 40% is the tax rate, then the effective cost of debt is 14% multiplied by 1 minus, which is 40%, 0.4. So this one is multiplied by 0.6. This one is 8.4%. Okay. Now I have calculated cost of debt, which is here. Okay. Now my other task is to calculate the cost of equity. Now the cost of equity in this situation, I have the numbers with me. Okay. Now I will use dividend. We will use dividend discount model. Okay, so I have growth numbers. Okay, I have everything. So if you remember from chapter number 4, the price of a bond, stock, was D1 divided by KE minus G. This one was, let's say, constant growth scenario. Okay, constant growth scenario. Okay, I have all the numbers. So as you can see here, the stock, the market value is $7 million. Okay, so if I can actually find out KE. So KE is equal to D1 divided by P naught plus G. So I have all the numbers. D1 is $500,000. It's given in the question. P naught is actually $7 million. Okay. So as you can see here, it says assume that B in problem number 1 is 3 million and S, which is the stock price, is 7 million. So the current stock, the market value of the stock or equity is 7 million. Okay, so that's why P naught is 7 million plus G, which is, sorry, Control Z. So G is expected to pay $500 this year. The growth rate has been 11% right here. Okay, so we can use 11% for growth here. So 11% is 0.11. So if I simplify it, my total is actually 18.14%. And as you can see, KI is 8.4% and KE is equal to 18.14. And if you remember from one of my lectures, I emphasized the fact that KE in most of the situation is greater than KI, and there were some reasons for it. Because these bondholders has residual value, sorry, the common stock holders, the equity holders, they have a residual value, a residual claim on the assets of the company, and of course the cash flows are not as certain as those for bondholders. Okay, so the risk associated with equity is normally more than the risk associated with debt. So that's why KE in most of the situations, I would say 99.9% of the situation, KE is greater than KI, and as we can see here, KE is 18.14. So what happens, let's say, if my KE is less than 8.4? KE is less than, let's say, the cost of debt. Of course, as I emphasize the fact, go back and look at your calculations again, because you might have made a mistake. Okay. So coming back to the question, I have KE and I have calculated, sorry, I have calculated KI, which is 8.4%, and KE, which is 18.4%. So I can easily calculate now WACC. And how can I do that? It's KI, okay, and B divided by B plus S. Okay, so this is the portion, that the weightage for bond, and then KE S divided by B plus S. Okay, and if I plug all the numbers, so this cost is okay, apologize. Okay, so this one is 8.4% into B is actually 3 million and divided by 3 plus 7, because the 7 million is equity. So total, let me write it for you. So total capital is equal to debt plus stock, which is 3 million plus 7 million. Okay, it is 10 million. Okay, plus KE is 18.14%, and then 3 divided by, sorry, 7 divided by 3 plus 7. Okay, if I simplify, if I multiply all the numbers together, my weighted average cost of capital is 15.22%. And as I said, one of the benefits of WACC, it's a single rate which satisfies the expectations of all all stakeholders, like the bondholders and the shareholders. So my first task in question number two was to calculate after tax. This is something very, very important. Since the company gets a benefit of tax savings, so you have to calculate the after tax cost of debt. Okay, so let's say the given cost of debt was 14%, but since the tax rate was 40%, okay, so you use this formula, 14 multiplied by 1 minus the tax rate, which is 14. So here the tax rate is 40%. Okay, so 14% multiplied by 0.46, okay, 8.4%. So do not forget to make this adjustment. You have to give the benefit of tax savings to the company. Okay, my next task was to calculate the cost of equity. Now the cost of equity, what do we use? We use actually the dividend discount model. Okay, and from chapter number 4, if you remember, the price of a stock is equal to D1 divided by KE minus G. Here D1 was $500,000, and the reason it was D1, because the wording says here the stock is expected to pay. So this dividend has not been paid yet. Okay, so let's say D0 is here and D1 is here. So let's say we are having this discussion here that the company is expected to pay. So they have not paid this dividend. Okay, so that's why D1 is $500,000. Okay, let's say if the wording was that the company already paid $500,000, then D0 would have been 500,000. Okay, and then for D0 would have been $500,000, and in order to calculate D1, you would have multiplied D0 by 1 plus G. But since the wording says expected, so that's why we consider 500,000 as D1, not D0. Okay, and calculation of FAT is super easy. K1, and then you multiply with the bond weightage, and then you multiply the cost of equity with the weightage of the stock, and the result is 15.22%. I hope this helps you. Please go to some other problems, try to solve them, and if you have any questions, any concerns, you can email me at my email address, which is mazullah@gk.edu.pk, or you can actually send me those questions through my WhatsApp group. I wish you all the best. This was our last lecture for chapter number 15. In the next 2 lectures, I will talk about some modes of Islamic financing and why is it important in today's financial system. So I wish you all the best. As I said, any questions, send me an email or send me your question through WhatsApp group. I wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day.